Hello everyone, welcome back to Gleaton-Askew House Restoration. Today we have the long-awaited video on the wedding cake chandelier and how all that turned out. I am extremely pleased with how it went, and this is by far the most complicated lighting restoration I've ever done, not because of the wiring, but just because of the reassembly and the crystals. And wouldn't you know it, I'm short 2 crystals. Other than that, though, I think it went really well, and we'll get those 2 fixed. I actually busted 2 of them trying to finish the thing, because if one of them hits the floor, that's it. So I hope you all enjoy this video, and do remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. We have the pan waterfall chandelier coming up next. All right, everyone. Thank you for your continued support. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye. One of the things that you've heard me talk about quite a bit, if you're on my Facebook, in terms of the restoration of the wedding cake fixture, is that the original brass lamp pins, or the original prism pins, whatever you want to call them, were corroded. So this is what I mean when I say corrosion. Like, if you can see that right there, they're discolored. They are worse than that. I could deal with discoloration. They are brittle. And you have to take these little guys out one by one and replace them with new brass lamp pins. Now, the original top part, the octagon prism, it's like a 16mm prism on the wedding cake fixture, those are made out of pressed glass. They are not lead crystal. And while the prisms are cut glass, the new crystals that I bought on eBay are 30% lead crystal. Now, I do believe the original icicles on the wedding cake fixture were actual crystal. What their percentage was, I don't know. But I do know that the tops are pressed glass. So I think we kind of had a combination of the crystal and the pressed glass, which is probably like a little budget cut, because this fixture, I believe, was produced, in and around the time of the Depression or the early 30s, which, it was a luxury to have something like this in the first place. Whether or not it was made of lead crystal or glass is probably irrelevant. You were probably just happy to have electricity in your home in Southwest Georgia in the late 20s and early 30s. So what I have to do with this, I have this piece, and then I have my original little glass crystal. Now, I might ask, how do you get that authentic look? You can't just put those little gold loop things, little jewelry connectors on these, because, like, you'll see these on newer fixtures like your Home Depot variety fixture. That's a sure sign that you've replaced your crystals and that you haven't done your homework on historic lighting. All old lighting, or at least I'd say most, is going to have these brass lamp pins right here. And you can get these, on eBay, Etsy, wherever. Just type in brass pin, and probably you'll get something. Now, these little guys are slightly longer than my original pins. So what I have to do on each and every one of them, I have to come over here and just cut the tip off ever so slightly. First, I take my prism, not my prism, but my icicle, and I stick my little pin through, just like that. You can see the front of it there. And then I take my jewelry pliers, and I just curl this up. I curl mine directly up and over, but unless your pins are shorter, you will have to cut it off. So you're going to have a little something that looks like that. Just a little standard loop. Then I'm going to take another pin, This one I'm going to cut down about halfway because I don't need nearly this much wire to stick through the prism. Okay, I clip that. I take my prism and I am doing flat side front because that's the way this fixture was. You'll have a more projected side, a more pyramidal look, and then you'll have your flat. You could do it either way. I just elected to do, I'm dropping it. After I've done 170 of these, I have a little bit of butterfingers. But you take that, you stick it through, and then I curl mine forward, making sure you don't wallow out your hole, because if you wallow out the hole, your opening is then too big and your brass head slips through. That's just, This thing is not my friend. You can see that it's just destroyed my hands doing this. Absolutely destroyed them. Let's see if we can get a better, yeah, just a little curled up loop forward. Then you're going to take your icicle, and this is the point where you have to do a little finagling depending on how your fixtures are hanging, because you don't want your icicle hanging kind of crooked or off to the side. I take this, and sometimes I'll take my pliers, sometimes I'll take my hands, and I'll just twist it forward. If you look now, we have our loop facing forward, and we also have our little connector there facing forward. And then I just bring it around, and you loop it around like you would any earring or any other type of jewelry. You might notice it's hanging a little wonky. You just have to take your pliers and finagle with it until it hangs straight. And if you have an existent drop that you always use that to size. I did that prior in the video, but there it is, hanging pretty straight. I take my last pin, put it through the hole, clip this one off again, just a little under halfway. I do an initial bend right at where it connects. So it's a little upward. You'll have a kind of like a backwards L, depending on which way you're looking at it. And then you'll just bend over. It looks like a wire earring. Let's just get a good look at that. And my hands are totally in the way. It's like a little wire earring connector right there. So that is the painstaking process that I have been going through. We have 170 crystals. Luckily, all of my original heads are here because the ones that I ordered are a little larger, just a little bit bigger, and that could throw off the spacing. So luckily, we have all our original pressed glass head octagon prisms and our lovely icicles. So stick around and you're going to see us put these on the frame, and I'll talk a little bit about the wiring process as well. It's pretty. I think I should make some earrings like this. It's lovely. I'll wear my house if I have any left over. Yeah, this is a tedious process, but I think the look is very authentically vintage. Many of you will remember our crown at the top of our wedding cake chandelier. So I disassembled all this stuff off camera. This is a piece to what I call the crown, or the top of it, the ornamental top. And as you can see, this is brass, but all the color is off of it. I put a magnet to it and the magnet didn't stick. So my general assumption is this is brass. Now, what do you do when you have something that's like this? You know, there's a little bit of the gold left on it. I mean, you could leave this just like it is. Probably have a pretty cool little time-worn effect. But I want this just a little bit more gold. I think it's going to look better with my overall concept. So what I'm doing, I'm taking a little bit of gold gilding wax by our wonderful Dixie Belle. Not sponsored or anything, but it would be nice if they decided to. But this is a great product. I really love it. It's an oil-based wax. Use this on furniture, metal, wood, whatever you want. This is a good bet for problem situations. So I'm going to take a little bit of this on my trusty paintbrush and just give this just a little. Like, I'm not, you know, really saturating this with it. I'm just doing enough of a brush over to give you just a little bit more gold, because this is not, don't conceptualize my restoration of this fixture as having a lot of silver, although the cage that the crystals hang on is silver, and that's so that you don't see the, you know, the gold shining through the backs of the clear silver, as crystals rather. But this, I do want to give just a little update. And this is how I'm doing it, with just a regular dollar store brush and Dixie Belle wax. And so you can see, so you don't watch me brush around on that. This is one that I completed, and I did not wax over right up here. This is where we have a little bit of our original finish left. We just sort of married that in to the crown. And we'll have crystals hanging from here. I'm gonna have to adjust my crystal lengths a little bit, but that's not a big deal. And we're gonna start wiring and assembly on this. Okay, so here we are in my highly professional lighting workshop, i.e. my bedroom. It's just where we are today. We have to deal with it. And this is the top disc of the chandelier. Now you'll notice I've already got sockets in here. Keep in mind, I'm not a professional electrician, but this is pretty easy. You don't really have to be to get this concept. So this is the antique bracket on the back that bolts in the black sockets for the lights. And here's your hot, here's your neutral. And what I did, these are just run-of-the-mill pre-wired sockets that I got on Amazon. No, they don't have the cloth wire, but you're not going to see this part of the light, so it doesn't, unless you're looking down from the ceiling, which I don't think any of us mortals will be doing. I did have to take off the little silver bracket that comes on these and put back on the original. So if you're ever doing one of these, please save all of your little brackets, because the new stuff will not fit, absolutely. So they're just all bracketed in here, screwed in like so. And then we have our little silver silver now. I guess this is for reflectiveness, something to do with the reflectiveness of the light, because these were not ever gold, I don't think. We do have a little bit of the black peeking out here because the new sockets are slightly longer than the old, but that's not a big deal. You won't be able to see it. The next thing we have to move on to is the pull chain switch. So right here is what I have this thing out of the packaging. All they have is silver, so I mean, they're gonna have to like put some gilding wax on it or improvise. And here is our original little brass top. Now this piece is going to go down through right there where you see that kind of bent looking hole. The other one is going to be for the chain to hold the light up. So we'll just take a piece right here, fish it down in there. Bear with me just one moment. So that's how this looks after I had to go off camera there a moment and screw that in. You can see it's gonna hang like that. And here it is from top. Switch. All ready to be tied together. Okay, so this contraption right here is the light assembled. And up here we can see the wiring job. This is a really neat wiring job. This is probably one of the neatest ones I've ever done. Now, I don't show any footage of me really doing a whole lot of the rewiring. There's a ton of videos about that on YouTube if you want to see it. And I'm just not a licensed electrician, and I just don't feel, I can give you some basic pointers, but I don't feel, you know, comfortable doing a whole tutorial on this is absolutely how you should wire your light fixture. But I'm not saying this is not how you should wire your light fixture. It looks really pretty. And more than the way it looks, everyone, is the fact that when I pull this little chain right here, ta-da, we have light. That's the main thing. And now I can go ahead and start the reassembly. But would you look at that? The old chandelier, all this time sitting and rotting and losing all of its pretty crystals, it now has juice running through it again. So that's exciting. Okay, now I'm going to stop talking and we're going to go on to assembly.